Melissa from designsbylittleb.etsy.com and designsbylittleb.com. And today I'm going to do what I hope is a really fast tutorial on making snap tabs. If you are new to my group or you've just been surfing Etsy, you saw this week that I released my second set of Perfect Pairs snap tabs. It's a set of 10 little pairs of snap tabs. They're super cute, like burger and fries, salt and pepper, etc. And of course the questions started flooding in as soon as I started advertising these. How do you make a snap tab? I've never made one before. Is it easy? Of course it's easy. It's very simple. The instructions are the same for everyone, even though the details on the snap tab obviously vary. But they're very easy to make. Most of them take less than 10 minutes. Some of mine stitch out in like 3 minutes. So today I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to make a snap tab. I'm even going to show you how to install the snaps really quickly at the end of the video. So let's go to our machine. The first thing you may notice is that even though I have a multi-needle machine and I usually use my fast frames, I'm actually using a real hoop for this project so that you can see and get a better idea of what it will look like on your hoop if you're using a single needle machine. So the first step in the snap tab, in my snap tabs at least, and I think probably most of them, is a placement stitch for where your snap tab is going to go. This is where you're going to place your vinyl or your felt or whatever you're using for the snap tab. So I'm going to hit go, and it's going to stitch out just the placement for my snap tab. The second step is pretty important. You need to place your vinyl or felt or whatever you're using and make sure you lock it down somehow, however you like best. If I'm using my fast frames, I use my little Wonder Clips from Clover that I got at Joann with my coupon to clip them down, to clip the vinyl down to the frame. If you're using a single needle machine, I highly recommend maybe using some adhesive spray. You can use pins. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to go ahead and bring my hoop out, and I'm going to pin my vinyl down to my stabilizer in several spots. Make sure you are out of the way of that stitch path because you don't want your needle to hit any of these pins. But just make sure that it's firmly in place. Remember that it will shift a little as your details of the snap tab stitch out if it's not pinned or adhesive or clipped appropriately. So you want to make sure it's nice and taut and pinned very well. So I think that's good for me right there. Now I'm going to bring my hoop back in. The next step for my snap tab is going to start the detail stitches of the particular snap tab that you're doing. In this instance, I'm doing a basketball mom snap tab, and the first step I can see is the basketball that is orange. You'll notice that I didn't have a tack down stitch for my for my snap tab. I don't do tack down stitches for in the hoop projects like this that have a lot of details on the inside, and here's why. No matter how well you stabilize it, when you start stitching the details on the inside, like dense fill, like what I'm going to do for my basketball, letters, bean stitches, whatever your details are on the inside, when you complete your snap tab and you go to put the backing on your snap tab to give a nice clean finish on the back, and you run that final stitch that's the exact same as your tack down stitch, your fabric will have shifted just a little bit because of the pull and push of the needle and the stitches that you're doing on the inside on the details. Does that make sense? So if you see someone share a picture of a snap tab they did and they say, oh, I just don't know, it doesn't look right, why does it look messy? It's because they stitched out the tack down, and then they did all the inner detail stitches like letters or a baseball or basketball or a name or a font or whatever, and then they put their backing on there and stitched out that final bean stitch, and they don't quite match up because of the push and pull of the design on the inside of the snap tab. So I don't do mine with a tack down. You are more than welcome to rerun the placement. It's the exact same thing. I just don't do it. continuing on with my snap tab, these steps obviously will differ with every snap tab that you do. Each snap tab will be different. This one has a basketball, and then it has the word mom, and then it has the word basketball. So that's the order I'm doing them in. Obviously, those steps will vary with whatever snap tab you're doing at the time. Now you see that all the design elements of the inside of my snap tab are done. The orange basketball, the word mom, and the word basketball are all stitched out. Now it's time to, and I'm going to move my camera back a little bit, it's time to place the second piece of fabric that you're using on your snap tab on the back of your hoop. Usually, since I'm only taking sample photos of mine, I just do it kind of haphazardly while it's still on my hoop. But if you want a cleaner look and to make sure that you're totally covering those stitches, you might want to take your hoop off, flip it over, place this to cover. Adhesive spray is great for this step because you just need it to stick long enough to catch those the final stitch. You can also pin. Just make sure, once again, that you're pinning, well, you want to pin on top so that it doesn't scratch the bottom of your machine, and you also want to make sure you avoid that stitch path right there. If you're using fast frames, you can clip this onto your fast frame as well. There are a lot of ways to do it. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to just quickly take out my initial pins that I put in, and I'm going to re-pin, and I do it really just fairly haphazardly because once your machine catches that material underneath, it'll be stuck to it and it won't go anywhere. So then put your hoop back on, make sure that fabric stayed underneath, and then you've just got one more step. I'm going to move my camera back, and we're going to run that final step. And I usually kind of peek underneath there, make sure it's still there and everything's hanging on. And see, once it starts this being stitched, it's secure. Now my snap tab is fully complete. So it's time to take those pins out, and you may unhoop your project. And you need to cut carefully around the edge of your snap tab, around the whole thing. I'm going to do a little quick tutorial on how to install the snaps. Because if you're making these, you probably already know how, but maybe you could use a little refresher. Maybe you've never used them before. So for a set of snaps, I buy mine from Cam Snaps. I've bought them from My Cry World. I've gotten them from several places in the past. So for snaps, when you get a set of snaps, here's what they'll come with. They will come with an awl, AWL. I call it the pointy thingy. And that is for punching the holes that your snaps are going to go into. So for the snap tabs, usually, I forgot to do this, usually I have the little circle guides for your snaps. I didn't stitch those out onto this. Sorry, I forgot. But when you get a set of snaps, if you get like a beginner set, it's going to come with an awl, AWL. That's the pointy thing. Oh, I dropped it. Don't drop it on your feet. It comes with a hand press that, this is my crocodile, but this looks like a snap press. I don't even remember where my hand press is for my snaps. I use a tabletop press. This costs about $80 and it is worth every penny, especially if you're like me and you're have problems pushing that hand press all the time and you use a lot of snaps. It will also come with, these are called, I think they're called caps. You can see them. It's just a shiny circle with a side that pokes through. And it comes with 2 parts for the inside of your snaps. And I believe they're called the stud and the socket. If you think of them in hardware store terms, it's like a male and a female part. One goes in and the other goes out, and they snap together. So here's what you do. Using your circle guides that you can stitch out on your snap tab, or just eyeballing it if you'd like, which is what I do because I've done so many of these. You punch holes with your pointy awl at the top and bottom, maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch away from the top and bottom. So now I've got a hole there and a hole there. Looking at the front of your snap tab, push your cap pieces, that's the shiny pieces, just the shiny plain circles, through the front of your snap tab. So it looks like this. So in the back, all you see, of course I used black so you can't really see, in the back all you see is the pointy sides of those. Now, you grab your snap press, your hand press, and you place the cap part of your snap in the bottom, like the socket of that hand press. And it should, if you've got the right bottom piece installed on there, it should just nest right in there. You take one of your socket or stud piece, and I'm using a table press, so it's just slightly different, but not really. You put one piece, it doesn't matter which one, on the top, and you mash it. If you're using the hand press, you just mash it. Now my tabletop press requires me to change this top piece. So I'm going to change that real quick. Put my socket piece in, and then for the other one, nest that cap in there, and I'm going to mash that piece. Now, if you've done a good job and you've applied the right amount of pressure, and that knowledge just comes with time, then when you take your snap tab like that, oh, perfect. It will snap just like that. And you can place it on these D-rings, they're like lobster claw D-rings. You can get these on Amazon. You can get them at My World. They are 3/4 inch wide. And that's what I use for my snap tabs. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial and it helps you make lots of these little snap tab creations. People ask all the time, what do you use snap tabs for? There are tons of functions. You can use them, you can make up batches of them and sell them at craft fairs. If you look in my YouTube channel, I have a My Favorite Thing About Embrilliance Essentials video that will show you how to put multiple snap tabs or any in the hoop item in your hoop and stitch them all at once, so you can do as many as you can fit into a hoop. You can give them away as little happies to friends. I've done fundraisers with them before. You can give them to kids to clip onto their backpacks. There are a lot of them out there that have like bus rider or car rider on them. You can use them yourself on your own keychains. Do I have my keys down here? I don't see my keys down here, but I have my my little 6-needle brother machine replica snap tab on my keys. So far, nobody's recognized it. So hopefully one day somebody will say, oh my gosh, is that an embroidery machine? But anyway, so that's just some of the ideas you can use snap tabs for. You can use them for anything. They're so easy to take on and off of their keychains. You can also use just a plain split ring, like a round key ring. And they're fun to just give away, to keep for yourself, to trade, for kids to play with. Possibilities are endless. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope it helps you have some fun, learn something new, maybe make a little money. And if you're interested in more tutorials that I do under the name Designs by Little Bee, you can hit that red subscribe button down below the video. I'll also post links to the things that I talked about in this video so that you can go shop for yourself or further investigate before you invest in any of these snap tabs. I hope you had fun today. I will chat with you in my group. I'll post that link below too. And I'll see you in the next tutorial.